Yeah, so that happened. I think that falls into the be careful what you wish for category. We were departing Airventure. It was very hot, and I wished the plane was a little bit cooler, and I certainly got my wish. That was departing Airventure, so I'll explain exactly what happened with that situation at the end of the video. It's not that big a deal, but now I know how something worked on my plane that I didn't know before. So if you are the type of person who pays attention to detail, you may have picked up by the fact that I've gotten a head transplant and the fact that NOTAM number 6 has made it onto my wall, that Airventure 2023 is complete. I want to put together sort of an overview video talking about the Airventure in its entirety from my point of view this year. There's some videos that I'm going to make after this that are kind of deep dives. There's some interesting flights and lessons learned, but I really want this just to be an overview. Who knows, maybe we'll just extend Airventure out through the rest of the year and into 2024. The 12 months of Airventure, we'll put a video out every month, deep diving into some aspect. I don't know. I'm not going to commit to that, but this is an overview. So the trip started on Friday morning, me and my friend Eric. Eric's a photographer, and you know him from his channel, Eric Johnston. And he's been on my channel a handful of times. We've collaborated a bit. So we took off from Northwest Regional Airport 2 days before Airventure opened up and decided we were going to check out this event called Rock the Ramp. All right, so I'm here with Eric from, well, you got your name on your shirt. I keep mine in my underwear. So Eric Johnston, if you want someone to take pictures, he's a Eric Johnston Photography. So we are headed out of North Texas, and we're going to go to Sherman to get fuel, and then we're on to Rock the Ramp if our plane will get us there. The car battery died, so that's stranded. I'm not going to worry about it until Friday. Other than that, I'm going to have Eric get the throttle real quick because I've got probably 2 to 3 minutes before I can touch that legally. A line guy and he's a perfectionist. It took him 15 minutes to push the plane back, so I'm just making knots that'll make him mad. Come on, Boy Scout. I did that on purpose. Yeah, that's how I knot the plane.
That'll hold it down really nice.
You know what? Even if I'd done a perfect knot, you'd come over here and fix it. So this tie down was sponsored by Eric Johnston Photography.
Click the link below.
Yeah, smash that like button.
10% off your next tie down.
Okay. Rock the Ramp is this cool little event they put on the Saturday before Airventure. I recommend it to anybody who's looking to sort of extend this whole aviation experience. They do an air show. They have a lot of static displays. There's a ton of people out there, pilots and people from the local community come out to watch some of the aerial demonstrations. At night, the powered parachuters have their lights and smoke on, and they do a demonstration that's pretty cool. And the finale, they fill the whole place up with smoke, and they do this laser show, which is pretty exciting. So I recommend it if you're looking for something to do to try to extend the whole length of this, aviation adventure. Rock the Ramp's a cool one to check out. The following day, Eric and I needed to get to Traverse City, Michigan. He was doing some videography of some L-39s and some MiGs he wanted to shoot out there. So we flew over Lake Michigan. And there's an interesting story there. There's definitely going to be a deep dive video where I talk about sort of the thought process. We flew over the lake. There's some risk mitigation and some things I would have definitely done differently. I don't want to dive into that in this video, but flying over the lake was absolutely beautiful. We landed in Traverse City, Michigan, and we kind of hung out at the hangar while they did these briefing for these warbirds. Eric was doing a lot of photography and videography for these guys. I just kind of mingled with the folks at the hangar. Matt Guthmiller was actually out there. He was doing some, I believe, aerobatic training in one of the L-39s. So it was pretty cool to get to watch how these people brief the flights and sort of follow along in how they prep for these really formation missions. I think there were 11 total. And also at Airventure, it was kind of cool to see them arrive in formation. So while Eric was off doing his photo work, I decided to go into town. First thing I noticed, I was just on foot. I just decided to walk through town and see what it had to offer. Michigan, your squirrels are jet black. I've never seen this in my life. I live in Texas. Our squirrels, there's one right there by my tree right now who is gray-brown. That's what I'm used to seeing. I was walking out through a field and I saw 4 or 5 of what I thought were cats until they saw me and climbed up a tree, and I was like, these are squirrels. They're jet black. I'd never seen that before in my life. Maybe it's normal. Anyway, I walked around town. It's a pretty cool little town. I ended up finding this place called the Filling Station where the pizza was fantastic. So I had pizza and a cold beer. And then I went back to the hotel because I needed to study the NOTAM. It's really important that you understand what's in that NOTAM before doing your approach into AirVenture. It's real important to me that I know what frequencies I need to be on based on runway assignments and what the procedures are, because what I don't want is to be trying to fly in all that chaos and then flipping through the book to try to figure it out. So it was a pretty early night for me. The next morning we were going to get up and fly into AirVenture. Sunday morning we got up. Eric decided he was going to fly in with the Warbirds, which I can't blame him. That sounds awesome. And so that meant I was going to be flying into AirVenture solo, which isn't really a concern. I've done it a handful of times. I'm not super worried about it. I did get the opportunity again to fly over Lake Michigan, which did 14,500 feet. I had oxygen. The only real downside was a little bit of nerves because it's a different environment. I was in gliding distance to the shores at any given point in time, but my cameras froze. It was very cold up there. One funny thing, I guess, was when you're flying in a new, sort of more stressful situation, even if it's internal, you get so hyper-focused on just fly the plane, don't do too much. I landed, and I told Eric, I was like, oh my gosh, it was freezing up there. It was like 10 degrees. I was freezing, and Eric said, why didn't you turn the heater on? I said, yeah, that would have been a really good solution to that problem, wouldn't it? But you're so hyper-focused on just, okay, we're over open water, just don't mess with anything, let the plane do what the plane's doing. And so you kind of, I don't know, your peripheral vision isn't what it should be. So yeah, I have 2 little levers that would have warmed that plane right up. This was very interesting. So I feel like I cheated getting into AirVenture this year. Normally I've flown 1,800 feet, 90 knots, as the NOTAM suggests. Last year, Eric and I attempted to do 2,300 feet and 135 knots, but the controllers on the ground basically begged, if you can do 90, get down and do 90. As soon as we got down last year, we were cut off by a tiger moth. I'd be lying if I said my plane couldn't fly 90 knots all day, every day, but it can't fly 65 knots.
So he's cutting in front of us.
He is.
That's the Monster Tower, 126.6. Don't forget the gear. Have a good one. Welcome to the show.
All right, we're going to follow him.
So he's going to be
Is
crawling.
there a twin up high?
Being a biplane, he's going to crawl.
Well, he needs to be able to do 90.
3265 Golf. You're parallel on the line. Go back to Endeavor. You're parallel on the line. Go back to Endeavor.
Get as slow as you can.
Twin, half mile southwest of
Hole.
Good rock. All right, the twin, continue northeastbound. Follow the tracks to the right downwind, runway 27. Don't descend below 1800 until in the downwind at the gravel pit.
That's a tiger moth. Those things are slow as hell.
And so there was a whole lot of getting cut off and getting pushed back and just flying on the edge of the prop, which is not ideal. This year I opted to do the 2,300 foot, 135 knot entry again. They weren't begging us to get down, and so it ended up being just a straight shot without a lot of conflict. The real only thing that I had to add was at 2,300 feet, I couldn't see any planes. There was nobody up there, so it really was just a straight shot from Fisk to Ripon, Ripon to Fisk. The thing I did have to do every once in a while was go into ForeFlight and make sure the planes I'm looking at were, in fact, at 1,800 feet, just so I wasn't creating a conflict. You still want to keep a mile separation. Sometimes it was 2 miles. I did have my waypoints. There's Puckaway Lake, the Endeavor Bridge, Green Lake, Rush Lake. But my real waypoints, this is kind of weird, and my real waypoints was just kind of overtaking Cessnas. So, and it's not all Cessnas, but the 90 knot planes down there, you could just see them in a line. It's like, okay, I'm overtaking that plane, overtaking that plane, overtaking that plane. And so the line of planes kind of became my magenta line, so to speak, for how to get in. When I got to Fisk, I didn't get the normal communication. Normally it's, Comanche, rock your wings, welcome to Oshkosh, follow the east-west road or continue on the tracks. This year, all I heard was retract, turn right. I was like, okay, I'm going to turn right. So I turned right. I saw what appeared to be a Cherokee in front of me, and so I said, okay, I'm just going to kind of follow that guy. Normally they'll tell you there's a microwave tower to look for or, gravel pit if you go that way. He didn't. He just said turn right. Turn right, follow the Cherokee, and then switched to tower. I didn't hear any communication from tower. I was on short final really when they gave him his dot assignment and me my dot assignment.
Low wing, retracts, a half mile southwest of Fish, right turn. Comanche or Mooney over Fish, turn right. Comanche or Mooney, down to 1,800 feet, gear down, slow down.
Short final for runway 36 right. Put it down in the green square. My go around, green end of the downwind for runway 36.
Go around on the right side end of the right base for runway 36 right.
All right, RV turn is final now. Skinny runway, red square, clear to land. You're going to have traffic in the right downwind to follow.
As you can see in the video, I did not land on the dot. I shot past it, but I will say if that had been a commercial check ride and a power off 180, I would have passed that maneuver, so I didn't blow by it too much. So anyway, entry was really easy this year. I'll probably continue to do the 2300, 135 knot unless they're really begging us to get down. So that was super simple. It is. Well, so
is it seeing you and me?
And our feet.
And our feet. Oh, yep. And my legs.
Yep. I'm going to zoom in on all the things we just described. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
How am I looking?
I don't know. How do you feel like you're looking?
Tired.
You do look a little tired. You've been all over the place just doing it, killing it, working it.
Killing it.
And then Ryan made a bad joke.
It's a bad joke.
You don't get to hear the joke. First day on the ground at Airventure, I was solo, so just me walking around. I really enjoy walking around out there and kind of reacclimating myself to the environment and getting the lay of the land. This is day 2 at Airventure. I'm not even making this up. I'm just walking down here and someone flags me down from behind, and believe it or not, this guy said he wanted to stop me because he thought he could help me out. Who are you?
My name is Ronnie Gibson.
And what do you do?
I am the chair of the EAA Legal Advisory Council here.
Legal Advisory Council, and he sought out me to let me know that he could offer me his services. And what do you do?
Well, the Legal Advisory Council, we're volunteer attorneys throughout the nation, and we provide legislative and policy advice to EAA as an organization. And in my real job, I am a law professor.
And he's chasing down influencers to try to keep us safe, and he thought he'd start with me.
Yeah, that's what we do.
It was great to meet you.
Nice meeting you too.
All right. The following day was Monday, and the absolute best thing ever, waking up in a bed. I opted not to camp this year. One thing at Airventure that it is what it is waking up in a tent when it's hot and steamy and just kind of, it's like a sauna in there, and so you just want to get out as quick as you can. Now you're out in the elements. Generally, it's hot. Sometimes it's cold. But this year, I opted to get an Airbnb in Appleton. Just being able to wake up in a bed and have running water and take a shower. And then what I would do is I would just walk into town and go grab a cup of coffee and breakfast. Probably it was 11 to 12 every day before I actually got to Airventure. All right, day 2 of Airventure and day 2 of Aaron's second Airventure. How are you feeling? Airventure. How are you enjoying yourself?
I'm enjoying myself.
Where are we going?
To go get me a wristband because somebody didn't get me credentials this year.
We're going to edit that part out. We're going to go have lunch with Flyer Magazine.
Yes.
So
we're going to meet the Brits.
And then we're going to just kind of enjoy it today, I suppose. And tomorrow we got Brian, my friend, coming down. We're going to do the night air show. But we're sleeping in an Airbnb. I'm feeling way more refreshed than I ever have at Oshkosh before.
Yeah.
So
cleaner too.
Way cleaner. So Monday, my wife flew into Appleton and Ubered to meet me at the front entrance of Airventure. We got her situated, and then quickly we went to what was called a YouTube meet and greet. It was more of a Q&A. We did this last year, and it was pretty big. This year, it was huge. The audience was maybe 3 or 4 times larger. This entire Forum Stage 9 was absolutely packed. The stage was packed with some really great people too. I think there were 30 of them, maybe more. It was probably too much because a lot of people didn't get an opportunity to interact with the crowd. One sweet little girl asked me a question I got a laugh I was pretty happy about.
All right, so your name and your question and who's for?
I'm Tyler. I have a question for Brian from Miss 27.
Oh dear.
Terrible.
You can't get out of it.
No, I know.
Did you ever have an idea for a video and it didn't work?
I've had ideas for videos that other people thought didn't work. once the Q&A wrapped up, we kind of broke off into our own little groups. So many of you nice people came up to me and shared comments about the channel and videos and stuff, and that meant a tremendous amount to me. So I appreciate all of you that it was really hot, that bared the heat and came up and said hi. It was really a highlight for me. So that was fantastic. The rest of the day was just kind of socializing, walking around, and just visiting with people. We spent a lot of time at the Flying Eyes booth with Dean, just because that's kind of home base. Dan and Christy are sort of situated there, and so a lot of people that I know tend to hover around that area. So we spent most of the afternoon out there. We're at Oshkosh 2023 with Dean. You see all the Flying Eyes people, YouTuber. This is the guy behind the deal, and he's setting up some glasses for Aaron. And show us how you do it. Show us what you do.
So. We have so many different lens, frame shapes and lens options that we bring all of the lenses and frames separately. So, frames, lenses.
So what are the lenses that are already in them? Are those just like demo lenses?
They're just demo lenses. They're just clear demo lenses. We make them just with clear demo lenses, and we put in the lenses that the customer wants right here at the shop.
So next year he's going to have flying ears, hearing aids, ear protection for when that happens. What? Yeah, it'll be an indestructible earpiece. Tuesday was sort of a low-key day. That was probably the latest we got into Airventure. We just stayed in Appleton and had a very late breakfast and later coffee. Then we went into Airventure, and not a whole lot planned. Just kind of walking around, meeting and visiting with people. Tuesday was our designated SOS Brothers night. At Airventure, it's really easy to get caught up in that and go there every single night. It's very fun. The bands are usually incredible. It's a lot of people, a lot of beer, and a lot of screaming to try to talk. And it can be tempting to do that all the time, but in the morning you always feel like crap and you've lost your voice. So Tuesday was our night to go out and kind of party. Wednesday is awesome. People ask me if I'm going to go to Oshkosh, what's the one thing I got to do? Wednesday or the last Saturday, the nighttime air show is just incredible. It's so well done. The nighttime air show, it's planes that are lit up. Some of them have LEDs. Some of them are spewing fire and fireworks and lights and what have you. It's very, very cool. I will say this, the air show, the night air show is kind of repeated. It's sort of the same as we saw at Sun and Fun. It was very similar to the one last year. The night air show leads into a fireworks show that is unlike anything I've ever seen. And the transition is pretty neat. So the planes are flying, doing their kind of firework thing, and then there's fireworks on the ground, and they kind of merge together for a while, and then the planes stop, and then this tremendous fireworks show. Just the sheer volume of fireworks and explosions, and what I'm going to call bombs. I don't know what these things are. It's probably a 55-gallon drum full of avgas, maybe, I don't know.
The individuals we consider heroes don't just face the occasional heroic moment, they seek it.
It's absolutely incredible. One of my childhood friends, probably the first person I met on this planet beside my parents, is this guy named Brian Terry. He's a photographer, and you can follow him on Instagram, by the way. I'll put his link in the description. So I met him. My parents lived next door to his parents when I was born. So he probably doesn't want me to show this picture, but this is me and my sister and him when we were little kids, apparently in our first band. But anyway, it was very cool. He came into Appleton, and we went and picked him up, and we brought him in. So we got there just in the nick of time. He's a photographer, so he has some really great camera equipment and was able to get some great photos and video of the nighttime air show. So that was very cool. And then him being there led to something cool. I typically ignore air shows. I've seen so many of them, and I kind of feel like if you've seen one, you've seen them all. So this is my 6th Airventure, and I don't think I've ever really stopped to watch an air show. It's probably, I should be ashamed to admit that, right? So he was there, and he had his camera equipment, and it was early afternoon, and my wife was tired, so she took a nap under the wing. So he gave me a cool adapter, or a lens that adapted to my camera, and he had his cameras, and so we decided we would walk to Show Center, and I mean, it was blistering heat. It was terrible, but the F-22s, the Aeroshell team, all of the aviation stuff that was going on was just incredible. I'm kicking myself a little bit for not paying more attention to these air shows. When these F-22s would pass by, I mean, I think scientists have figured out what the maximum amount of volume a human can handle, and they've just put it to 10 or 11, maybe 11. So loud, but just perfectly loud enough. When these planes would fly by, really, really cool to actually stop and take a moment and watch some of these aircraft. And then it was cool. I'm probably going to spend some money on a camera lens now. I was very far away from some of these planes, and by my standards was getting what I consider to be really good quality video. I'm sure photographers will be like, oh, it's crap. But for me, I was very excited at what I was able to get with the lenses that Brian shared with me. So it was cool to have my best friend come in and experience this. He's not a pilot, but show him what I always call the Woodstock of aviation, and see what this madness is about. So it was very cool to have him there for the Wednesday night air show and then the Thursday air show, which was really cool.
The Bose headsets, keeping it quiet. It's your Oshkosh, but here's your chance. The photo pass.
Oh my God, I'm getting the best video I've ever gotten, Brian. Holy crap. Couldn't have timed that better. The other thing we did was I haven't done before is we visited the museum. The museum is fantastic. We kind of went there just as a way to get out of the heat. We needed some air conditioning, but when we got there, I was like, why have I not been here before? So many amazing aircraft on this. There's like an entire section devoted to whatever Burt Rutan was concocting in his garage. I don't know. The man made some really interesting looking planes, and a lot of them are there. All kinds of planes from the history, through today of aviation. There's some seminars going on. There's some movies you can watch. There's demonstrations. But if you just want to get out of the heat and get some air conditioning and just pass through it, you won't regret it. It's a really cool museum. The other thing that was interesting this year, every year I've gone, I've said, this is the year I'm going to go ride that Ford Tri-Motor. It's such a cool looking plane. It looks like it's straight out of the past, and I've always wanted to get on it. Every year something has come up that has prevented me from riding on it, and this year something came up that prevented me from riding on it. So we're 6 years in a row without riding the Tri-Motor. Last year was the closest I got. I was in line, I was next, and the plane broke. This year, the schedule just started getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and we couldn't make it happen. So next year, or this will be just a streak that I continue on forever. I don't know. But that was really kind of the high-level overview of my Airventure. I am very grateful to every one of you that came up and said hi. There were so many kind people that came up and visited with me and my wife, and all of you that wonder how on earth she deals with me. That was a very common question. We should probably make a whole video about that. But it was cool to meet people. I want to thank every one of you and the people who support the channel, the Patreons. If you're signed up for the Patreon, I can't thank you enough. And Gold Seal, I'm not ignorant to the fact that I have a situation that allows me to do some things easier than they would be. Without the channel, without the support from the channel, the things that I'm getting to do would be a lot more difficult. So I am very, very humbled and grateful for everybody who supports the channel, everybody who's done the Patreon for Gold Seal, anyone who's sponsored the channel at any point in time. Really, really means the world to me. So thank you for supporting. Hopefully you enjoyed this. You got to see some of the Airventure stuff that maybe you missed if you didn't get to go, or maybe it makes you want to go that much more, and we'll see you next year. But I think that's it. We'll do some deep dive videos into some of the Great Lake flying and a couple of other things that I found that were interesting. And if you're wondering why we got sprayed with water at the beginning, here's the reason. So why was it raining inside the plane? Well, right here on the top of the airplane is this air scoop. And when you fly, air goes into there and it gets routed to the eyelet vents on the top of the airplane. There's a little tube on the inside here that allows water to drain out the bottom of the aircraft. I'll show it to you. This little junction here is where the air gets routed to the different eyelet vents, and there's a tube that hangs off of there. I've just pulled it off. It looks like this. And it drains to the belly, through the belly I should say, to the ground. And if I try blowing it, it's completely blocked off. So we need to find out what this part number is and find out if it's something I can replace or if my mechanic can do it. But that is why we all got soaked in the plane. Didn't really understand what this was or how it worked or that it was even here. But sometimes that's how we learn about our planes, is by getting splashed in the face by water. Who knows? So anyway, that's why that happened. That's been resolved. I have a new drain that's been installed in the plane. I went up and poured a glass of water in the top of the plane and it came out of the bottom of the plane. So that piece of magic is now working. There should be no more sprinkler system installed in the aircraft. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching the video. You guys, I hope you got to go to Airventure. If you didn't, I hope you get to next year. And I hope to see you there. So until then, you guys fly smart and I'll catch you in the next one. Click this link to see the most recent video upload. Click this link to see a video that YouTube thinks you might like. Click this link to subscribe to my channel.